Project Zomboid is an exciting game where you try to survive as long as possible in a zombie apocalypse. Surviving for any length of time can be hard, but here are a few tips to get you started. First, choose your difficulty level. You have a choice between Apocalypse, which is the hardest mode, and more hardcore, Survivor, which is in the middle, and Builder, which is more focused on casual play. Finally, you have Custom Sandbox, where you can change your settings to change the game to the way you'd like to play. Then you choose we'll choose Custom Sandbox, and then you choose your choice of spawn area carefully. If you're playing the vanilla game, Rosewood and Riverside are the safest areas, while West Point is the most area crawling with zombies. Later, West Point will allow you access to Louisville, but you won't be ready for that for a long time. If you choose Sandbox, you'll get a chance next to decide how you want to manipulate the game to your liking. In it, you can change how many zombies there are, how strong they are, and how many resources you'll be able to find. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. And we'll go to Rosewood. And as you can see, you can change to low, zombie count. You can change the time of day when you start. You can change it to the month to make it harder. If you want to make it summer, winter, we'll leave it on July. And you can see when you want water shut off, electricity shut off, how often you have alarms and frequency. You can add an in-game map, and you can change your zombie lore and proper zombies. And there are some other things you can change in here, and I've got a couple of mods that you can add as well. And so we'll go with I will go with my easy cars. I'll explain the easy cars makes it easier to use cars, and I'll explain that easier later. All right. And also one of the other things is how often you have the dreaded helicopter event. So we'll leave that. And if you don't want to go through the process again, you can save your selection as a preset for the future. And once the game is to your liking, you move on to the occupations and traits page, which is right here. There is a lot that can be said about occupations and traits here, but the general advice I want to give you is to either take the carpentry or burglary traits. So we have carpentry, which gives you 3 carpentry and 1 short blunt trait, and the burglar, which gives you the chance to hotwire vehicles. You get light-footed, nimble, and sneaking. And then the other option is park ranger, which gives good skills in axe, carpentry, foraging, and trapping. Foraging can be a good skill for finding food as food starts to run scarce. I'll mention that in another video. As for positive traits, fast reader can be a good one, as can first aider, anything that creates damage, such as stout, which is stout, and strong or fit, anything that fit. And then you want negative traits, such as easy ones are like Sunday driver. Clumsy can be okay. It makes you a little bit, all thumbs can be okay. It makes you a little bit slower in picking things up. Short-sighted. There's a rumor that if you put glasses on, you can mitigate that. I'm not sure about that or not. Weak stomach. If you're not eating bad food, that's not too bad. And hard of hearing, that one I find is not too bad. And smoking can be a good one. You can mitigate that pretty well with smoking, or with using chocolate, books, or alcohol. And obviously I don't suggest smoking in real life, but in the game it can be helpful for you. And then some of the other ones you can check. Pacifist is good. Conspicuous is can be a problem. Claustrophobic is not too bad. You're just more likely to be panicked, so you might spend a lot of the game panicked. So some of these will change how often or how you play the game. So just so you know, one things you can take is slow reader instead of a fast reader. That's up to you. You're playing a game where you are able to, if you're in solo mode, you're able to speed up the game, so it may not make as much of a difference. That's your prerogative. Make your choice. You just have to be at 0 points or in the green, or I wouldn't recommend having more than 1 point in the green. You can save this as a future preset, and we'll save that as Burglar 4. And once you have your occupation and traits set up, you'll need to select the character name and appearance you like. Just keep in mind you want to make it something memorable. I already made a preset one, Ava Berman, and I'll recognize her by her hat, her long hair, and she actually needs pants, so we'll put on jeans. And so you want to potentially make this as something you can recognize, because you will most likely meet yourself in the future, and you want to meet yourself in the future because that way when you die you can get your things back. So you can also save that down here in the future for later presets. So you hit play, and then we go through this lovely loading screen where it tells you these are the end times and there was no hope of survival. And that's very, very hope-filled. And then this is how you died, and that's pretty much the way this game is. That's something to remember, is that you will die no matter what you do, no matter how long you play. Eventually you will die, whether it will most likely be from a mistake. So the goal is just to keep learning from your mistakes. Next, check the bathrooms for items like bandages, medications such as sleeping pills, beta blockers, and pain pills, and tweezers, which will help get out broken glass. You will also want antibiotics and disinfectant if you're prone to infections. Last, check the bedrooms. You will likely find clothing here, and this will give you the first chance to rip up clothing, which you'll need, as you will need to change your bandage frequently if you get hurt a lot, or you take the prone to illness trait and are at risk for infection. Also look for a bag such as a backpack or a duffel bag if you don't start with one from the starter pack, or anything like a trash bag to carry in your offhand, unless you have a two-handed weapon. Just be aware, if you jump over fences, you will likely drop the bag and never see it again. You can also find fanny packs or small things like medication. You can wear a fanny pack on your front and a fanny pack on your back, so try to get two. Other things you might find and definitely need if you have room are a screwdriver, a saw, seed packets, and a backup weapon. Seed packets will be vital in the rest of the game, so jump up and down if you find them. Sometimes they can be very hard to find. Also look for skill books and bookcases to read when you have time. You also want thread, sewing needles, scissors, and a first aid kit, which will most likely be found in a medical center or a fire department. Chances are you won't find all these things in the same house or even with the same day or the area. Just keep looking out. Now that you're ready to venture outdoors, to start looking for more supplies and a base, before you leave the house, hit the C key on your keyboard. You will crouch, and that will give you a better chance of sneaking by zombies. You will also gain XP in the sneaking and lightfoot skills. As you go from place to place looking for supplies, you will inevitably run into zombies. To help prevent these encounters, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can zoom way out and see for quite a distance. Zoom in later when fighting to make the fight easier. To avoid zombies, avoid making noise and moving close to them. You can also try breaking line of sight by going into the forest, around buildings, or into buildings. Just be aware you might escape one set of zombies only to run into another set of zombies. Closing off doors can cut off line of sight, and if you time it well, you can keep zombies from following you, allowing you to handle smaller amounts of zombies at once or to get in the way entirely. When you do have to fight, use what's around you to your advantage. You can fight through windows and over fences, and when zombies climb over these, they will fall and for a short period of time be on the ground so you can quickly stomp on them. You never want to overwhelm yourself, so stick to fighting no more than 2 zombies in close quarters at once. Once you do kill zombies, you will start wanting to take their stuff, such as tearing up clothing and looking for watches. You'll want a digital watch to know the time, the day, and the temperature of the rest of the watches you can dismantle. You'll want to start detecting zombies on the other side of doors as well, as one way to get quickly killed is to open a door and stumble into a whole horde of them. First, look through windows when possible to give you an idea if there are any zombies in a house. Another method to detect zombies on the other side of doors is press the space bar against the door and see if zombies react on the other side. You can also click the E key twice in quick succession so you can give yourself a chance to see if there's zombies on the other side of the doors, and then close the door again before they can get to you. You can also stand off the side of the door and open the door just to make sure that you have room to get away before you do this. One thing you can't detect before you go into a house is whether there's an alarm. If you set off an alarm, you'll alert all the zombies in the area that you're there. You're best off vacating that area immediately. Speaking of alarms, you can use sound to your advantage. You can set alarm clocks to go off at certain times and leave them in an area to draw zombies away. Just make sure the alarm clocks don't backfire you by being in the house and going off while you're sleeping. You can also call nearby zombies to you by shouting using the Q button, and you can whisper instead to be heard in a shorter distance by doing so while crouching, allowing you to draw small amounts of zombies away from the horde. Once you get a car, you can also use it to get zombies to follow you away from an area and then quickly leaving. Running isn't cowardly in this game. At some point you will need to start planning for a base, and then the sooner the better. You will most likely want more than one base in the future. The first thing you should do is to find a building that you think is defensible and that has all its windows and doors intact. I prefer two-story houses. Clear the house out of any zombies first and remove their corpses by picking them up and taking them outside. Make sure to close any and all curtains on the first floor windows and 5 curtains on other windows to put up on windows that don't already have curtains. The zombies will be less likely to attack if they can't see you. You will need to set out containers for water, which can be anything from cups and bowls to big drums. Rainwater can be used to water your farm, but you'll need to boil the water to make sure it is safe to drink. You can also find water dispensers, usually in office buildings, and bring them back to your base. If you find a generator, take it back to your base as soon as possible, even if you're not prepared to use it yet. You'll need it one day. If you don't have a bed, you will need to take one from a house to use in your base. You can also use TVs to watch early on the game, turn on the Life channel and Living channel at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 a.m. to learn cooking and carpentry skills, or find VHS tapes later to play. Combine these with reading books on the subjects for more XP. A radio can be used to turn into the broadcasting system. The radio will tell you about the weather, which can be useful for a variety of reasons, including growing crops. It will also tell you the day before the helicopter event starts. You will need to know this because you will want to be far from your main base by the time it shows up. The helicopter will know wherever you are on the map and track you, bringing all the zombies after you. Look for a smaller base you can fortify, or better yet, get in a car and just keep driving to keep them off your back. You will want to start fortifying the housing by using barricades. Just make sure to use them on the inside of the house, not the outside of the house, as zombies will attack houses they see with barricades. You can also use the pick up and move commands using the menu on the left-hand side of the screen to move large objects such as stoves, dumpsters, chairs in front of your doors, windows, and garages. These will take a lot longer to break through and won't automatically draw aggro like a barricade would. You can smash out the stairs with a slanted hammer to keep zombies from getting upstairs entirely. To get out of the second-story window, create ropes from torn-up clothes and tack up escape ropes and windows with nails. Zombies will attack escape ropes, so be sure to build multiple escape ropes around your base so that you don't get stuck up and able to get back into your safe house and replace them when they are destroyed. Lastly, you will need a car. Cars are great for places to sleep away from zombies, moving things, and driving away from zombies. Their noise attracts zombies, so they can be used to draw zombies away from areas you want to empty out. To get in, find a key or smash a window. To get in by smashing a window, right-click on one of the windows and select the option. Remember to have a weapon or some other object in your hand so you don't use your arm to break the window and get injured. Clear the broken glass before getting in. Once you get in, you can unlock the rest of the doors by hitting the unlock button. Keys can be found around the car, including in nearby houses, underneath the car, in the glove box, or on zombies nearby. Or if you have the skills, you can hotwire the car. You can get skills to hotwire a car with burglary occupations, or have 1 skill point in electrical and 2 skill points in mechanics. To hotwire the car or start the ignition, hit the V button and select the option. You can also set off the alarm if you want to draw the attention to the car. This can be useful if the car is unable to drive, but you just want to use it to draw away zombies anyway. Alternately, if you don't mind making the game a bit easier, you can go into sandbox mode and select easy use cars, which means you can use any car that's functional that you can get into, but you may just have to break a window to get in. If you don't want to change the game, just keep a backup car for Zomboid bowling. If you find yourself crashing a lot, using Sunday Driver to slow yourself down will help you and not slow down so much that it's a detriment. Don't run over zombies as they'll break your car, and be careful not to run into things or you'll injure yourself. I won't judge, play how you like. Again, the sandbox mode can help you here if you really want to play Zomboid Bowling by allowing you to change the settings to minimize damage to the car and yourself, and to have cars that are better shaped to begin with. Again, it's all how you want to play. These are just a few tips to get started in the first few days of Project Zomboid. Look for more helpful videos in the future and watch my Project Zomboid gameplay videos, or come watch me stream Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description.